From the office to a first date, there's a lot of pressure to wear the right clothes for every situation. But clothes don't make the man. With Mack Weldon, you can build a wardrobe that looks polished in any setting and tells the world that you stay you wherever you go. They combine timeless style with modern performance materials to keep you looking good and feeling comfortable all day, no matter what's on today's agenda. Browse everything from shorts and polos to sweats and crews. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 25% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code MACK25. That's MackWeldon.com, promo code MACK25.
This is an ad by Regain Couples Therapy. Let's be honest, loving your partner doesn't mean you always like them, and guess what? That's normal. Regain, powered by BetterHelp, offers couples therapy that's flexible, affordable, and 100% online. Whether you're reconnecting or working through conflict, Regain is here to support you both. See why people wish they'd tried couples therapy sooner. Visit regain.com/couplespod to get 10% off your first month. That's regain.com/couplespod. This is an ad by Regain Couples Therapy and features real testimonials.
This was our first time trying therapy, and honestly, it was long overdue. Looking back, we just wish we had started sooner.
Regain's qualified therapists help couples when they can't get there on their own.
We thought it was intimacy issues, but Andrea helped us uncover a deeper root cause we hadn't even realized was there.
Visit regain.com/couplespod to get 10% off your first month. Regain, couples therapy that works.
If you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
Hi, I'm Benn Wiebe. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, thank you for coming. I'm so excited. I mean, we've been talking outside of this a lot, and it's so interesting when you kind of meet someone and you're like, wow, like where have you been? Like this is so crazy. It just clicks, right? And it makes sense that we're here. And I'm glad that you're gracing us with your presence today. So thank you.
I'm glad you're gracing us with your presence. I've been so looking forward to having this conversation. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, I love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning kind of obviously, charts our trajectory, the things that we pick up, our habits along the way, like our little things that we use as we're kids kind of follow us into our adulthood. Tell me a little bit briefly, if you can, about your childhood. What was that like? What was growing up like for you? And how did you kind of find your way doing the things that you're doing now?
I grew up in Oregon, around Portland. And most of my family still lives around there. But I was always someone who felt like I didn't get attached to things or places very much. Like I didn't feel like I missed those things. And my mom was someone who there's not a lot of creative professionals in my family. A lot of them went into teaching and medicine and things like that. But my mom had actually wanted to be an actor. She never professionally did it, but has some real talent as a singer and performer and stuff. So she really did put that appreciation of storytelling and creativity into me. And she was always like, yeah, I could see you in LA or some place like that. And that always seemed strange to me because I didn't know and didn't have family members that had just, moved away. Everyone was fairly close. My childhood was tough. I was bullied a lot. I have an older brother who wasn't particularly nice to me growing up. And he's had his own issues in adulthood, so we're not very close. We actually just got closer for the first time in a long time, which feels really good. But yeah, but it makes it tough when you are a sensitive and soft-spoken child. And it can be easy to feel like people will answer for you when
Mm,
you're soft spoken,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And the more people do that, the more you start shutting up and just keep letting people kind of run over you.
Yes.
And that's the biggest takeaway that has really kept with me in adulthood. It's very hard to get rid of that and shake that.
It's so unfortunate. I totally relate to you, like when it comes to bullying. Like I was just telling my friend the other day that she's known me since I jokingly say baby bean, because when I was a child, I was such a little, I'm only 5'4", so when I was a kid, I was like really tiny thing. And so she was like, "You were bullied?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I thought you were always in trouble when you went to the principal's office." I was like, "No, I was there to like get escorted to like class safely." Like that's why I was at the principal's office. Like it wasn't what you thought it was, but I kind of
Yeah,
kept it hidden, you know. But so it's really unfortunate that you feel that people have to speak up for you when you're soft spoken. When it's like, no, I don't really
yeah.
like that. I'm just a gentle soul.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of that two-pronged thing too. You don't want people uh to feel like they have to speak for you, but at the same time, then there are people who speak for you because they don't. They get frustrated by sensitivity and soft-spokenness, right?
Yes.
So they'll just jump in, and then and then it can get easy for you to be like, well, other people are just gonna like kind of railroad over me, so I'll just I don't want to be hardened by that, or right, or become a more aggressive person when it's not your nature.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It's tricky when that's not appreciated
Yeah.
necessarily as much. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I love Portland, and I think Portland has like the nicest people. I kid you not. I think the nicest people come from Portland.
They're very laid back. I always describe it as there's a very kind of anti-establishment or anti-mainstream kind of vibe there. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of huge business. The stickers all say "Keep Portland Weird." I even saw one in London. I was like, yes, that's awesome. Um, but that vibe is has always been alive. Where there's kind of a bohemian quality too that's very active. Tie dye is a thing in some places. All that.
I love it. I love that. I love Portland. When the last time I was there, I didn't want to leave. I was like, oh, it's so nice. The people are so nice here. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, I love it. Um, would you say, it was a loving family, like your parents were loving, that you felt very loved growing up?
Yeah, like my parents are great. Like they're still together. They've been
Oh,
together for wow, snap, maybe 40 years or so, like around that, right? Because I'm 40, and so yeah, like I'm 41, so yeah, they've been together at least 40 years. So, yeah, they really were my rock. Like I've neglected them,
mm,
over time as adults, but they really are the two best drivers for me. It felt like everyone else, did a lot of damage to me in a lot of ways, but they never did. They weren't the ones that did it. They really taught me kindness and care and yeah. They're
This is an ad by Regain Couples Therapy. Let's be honest, loving your partner doesn't mean you always like them, and guess what? That's normal. Regain offers couples therapy that's flexible, affordable, and 100% online. Whether you're reconnecting or working through conflict, Regain is here to support you both. See why people wish they'd tried couples therapy sooner. Visit regain.com/couplespod to get 10% off your first month. That's regain.com/couplespod.
Business owners wear many hats, but mailing and shipping expert shouldn't have to be one of them. Hi, I'm Al Coe, CEO of Stamps.com. We've helped over 4 million customers print postage, manage tracking, and schedule free carrier pickups so they don't have to leave the office. Stamps.com is committed to delivering the best solutions and rates, all on one platform, so you don't waste your valuable time. Go to Stamps.com to sign up for a special offer.
This is an ad by Regain Couples Therapy. Let's be honest, loving your partner doesn't mean you always like them, and guess what? That's normal. Regain offers couples therapy that's flexible, affordable, and 100% online. Whether you're reconnecting or working through conflict, Regain is here to support you both. See why people wish they'd try couples therapy sooner. Visit regain.com/couplespod to get 10% off your first month. That's regain.com/couplespod.
Okay, they have a little farmhouse in Oregon, and
Oh,
they're very do-it-yourself people, and yeah.
I love that. I love that you had that example. And that makes a lot of sense that you were wrapped in a lot of love growing up. And that you didn't lose that sense to like do you feel like you have to somehow or sometimes kind of, especially out in the real world, the industry that we're like the industry that we're in, it's very, it's like you have to have like a tough exterior.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just
And that's hard when you really prize keeping kindness at your core and taking that teaching with you. When in the real world, that's not necessarily prize. That's a lot of people consider that weakness.
Yes.
Right. You can steamroll over kind people as well. And in entertainment too, I think maybe even more so, because we're kind of packaged and sold that everybody wants to do this thing. And we know it. I mean, a lot of people do. So there are, people that line up and it's competitive and all that. But it does make you feel like there is a ruthlessness that's always kind of permeates.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily a great conducive environment for kind and it's kind of calm people. Yeah.
How do you stay calm and kind? What's some things that you implement in your life to stay on that? Like, I've been through a lot and it's tough sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know we both can connect to this very well. It took me well into my 30s actually to realize like it's daily work. It's right. Like even when things are going well and when life is constantly a roller coaster, right? You have dry spells and then you might have periods like everything feels great. But that never lasts forever, right? It's always kind of a pendulum swing. But before I realized that it really was daily work, I would never catch myself in the moments where I would start feeling down, or I'd be on kind of a downward spiral of just emotions, or not getting the outcomes you want, and doing things, just simple things like yoga and kind of going off the grid and going camping and things have always been helpful. But I think the biggest one, and having any kind of friend group, and I think it's easy to obsess of like I need lots of people. Then not like if you just have one or two people that you can have a conversation with and a deep dive and not have to be shy about sharing, that helps a lot. But I think it's the catching yourself. When I have moments now where I'm like, God, like something's gnawing at you, and you vent those frustrations, or maybe you feel aggressive about someone who's you're not getting the responses you want. But I immediately try and catch that now and say like, that's not really what I want. That's not really how I feel. It's just I'm not getting the outcomes I want.
Yeah.
And it helps to stop obsessing about outcomes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting that that you said it's something very important. You said it's a daily practice. It's so true. Like if we can miss a day of like centering ourselves and completely you don't feel the same. Certain things rub the wrong way, or someone says something to you, you're just like you blow up and you're like, well, I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah. And that's something we all do too, right? Like we might kind of blow up at someone or something, and it might not even be that thing that really bothered us. It's just that we're not we're not giving ourselves outlets maybe, or it's just not a great period for things we're experiencing.
Absolutely. And it makes sense. So how did you know that, tell me did you like your direction of where you're going and where you are now? Did you always have a sense of like, okay, I know what my purpose or my direction is going to be career-wise or just in life?
I did know early on I wanted to help people tell stories. I didn't feel obsessed with like I want to tell stories, the stories that I like my own, stories, right? But I felt like I wanted that there's tons of great stories, and I always appreciated people who are good storytellers, but I didn't know how to accomplish that. And since I didn't come from a family that was like into movies and music and as professionally, I had to kind of figure out where to find it, like where to educate myself. And it was when I went to New York for the first time, when I was 13. It was my first trip anywhere without parents.
Love
And
it.
it was for schools for drama. And there's a museum in Queens called the Museum of Moving Images, and it's a great museum. It's still there. And but they had a book. They had a book that listed like all the many many jobs in like movie making and stuff. And that was my first exposure to like, whoa, there's way more than like just actors and directors and
Right.
the things you hear about the most. There's like hundreds of jobs.
Yeah.
And it helped me focus and think about it seriously after that.
I love
Um,
it.
you know, that
Was it like then the seed was planted of like, okay, yeah, this is
that
definitely
was that was a big seed for sure, because that was for like theater, drama class. That what that trip was. So we got to like go see Broadway shows and go
okay.
backstage and get some like workshop time, and also learn about the history of New York, which includes a ton of creativity in its history. So that together with the museum bit, like, yeah, that seeded that initial spark of there's an option in life where you could really like do this and figure out how to do that. Yeah, yeah, and I never forgot it.
Love that. That's beautiful. So, I think what I love about this show is that I love hearing about the journey of getting to where you are now. Like the certain things that kind of, okay, that move that, okay, this situation helped this situation, which put that, those little puzzle pieces. So after that, time fast forwards, what's next? Like, how did you make more steps into the direction of, you know,
I mean, I even when I went to uni, I had like between 13 years old and starting university,
yeah.
I had already kind of um, not given up, but was like,
Oh,
oh, I'll do the university thing, and I want to do psychology, which has a huge component to storytelling, right? Like really understanding people and what it is to be in their shoes, and but I wasn't focused on movie making, and I didn't know college wise how to really pursue that, like what kind of school to go to, and but then halfway through, I was at University of Oregon. I realized that I didn't want to do anything else. I really wanted to figure out how the movie making thing, could happen, and I knew I was kind of wasting my time, uh, and so I switched to Art Institute in Portland, which doesn't even exist anymore. But
This is an ad by Regain Couples Therapy and features real testimonials.
This was our first time trying therapy, and honestly, it was long overdue. Looking back, we just wish we had started sooner.
Regain's qualified therapists help couples when they can't get there on their own.
We thought it was intimacy issues, but Andrea helped us uncover a deeper root cause we hadn't even realized was there.
Visit regain.com/couplespod to get 10% off your first month. Regain, couples therapy that works.
yeah, I did, and then I like interned on a movie, like my third year in, and I told him like I'll do whatever. I just want to learn and work hard, and they put me to work, and you know how they say, the whole networking thing on film sets really is you become like you're all in the trenches, and so there is a unique bonding experience that happens even when you're brand new.
yeah.
And I just let people know like I'm here to just work and be there for everyone, whatever I can do. And by the end of it, someone said, "Well, I'm jumping on another movie like a week later. You want to come?" I don't know if, how much money there is or what roles, whatever. But I said, "Well, I don't care what there is. I'll come."
I love it. I
Right?
love it.
And and I don't necessarily advocate for people doing the like work for free on your first one,
For sure.
but I mean, but sometimes it's your choice, and if that's the only choice available, I still say, well, if you can, you got to take any opportunity to get started. But by like my third or fourth film, like it was ended up being like a Jennifer Aniston movie, and that
Love
was
it.
there. And there you go. I kind of was able to ride a wave, and from there, I like picked a date, and I was like, I'm gonna move to LA because people were encouraging me to. And I said, job or no job, I'm just picking a date on the calendar, and I did. And when that date came, I was like, all right. And I don't even think I had a job really lined up. I was like, well, the date's coming, I'm doing it,
I
and I
love
did.
it. I love it. And I really feel like that's something that I noticed in this industry with a lot of people that are successful and doing the things are living the dream, quote unquote, I guess. Um, it's the going out and saying yes to the opportunity, even if it doesn't, like, you're not really sure what it all entails, but you're just like, sure, yes, you're just allowing things to come.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, any trajectory, right? Like, I mean, entertainment can seem like it's this mysterious thing, and there is no one way to do it. Like,
Yes.
maybe there's for jobs like being a doctor, it can seem like there's one way to do it because you need the medical license and you need a medical degree, right? Like, it's a very linear path, but still, there's unknowns in everything. Right? We don't know what the future holds even when once we do start a career, right? So
Yeah,
it's just leap of faith. It's leap of faith in all of it.
absolutely. What would you say your job title is? I mean, because you do so many things. You
So
have great conversations. You're
I
at
love conversation.
talk. I do too. And this is why we connect. This is why I'm like, yes,
Hmm.
more of that, please.
Yes, yes, please. Um, I mean, my main current role is being an executive producer on projects, and then also being a social impact strategist. So I love working on climate or mental health related campaigns, and I'd done that for like Vice and Netflix and some UN division projects. Um, that's really fun because then that's when it feels like that's what for me gives me the most purpose,
Yes.
and yeah, what I do. So, um, but yeah, I like over being an executive producer. I enjoy because I get to uh, help everyone else make sure they like have what they need to tell the story well. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Which
Mhm.
is always what I thought of as a kid, right? The whole I want to help people tell stories, and that feels like kind of the place I can best do that.
I
Yeah.
love that. Have you have you ever thought about, like creating your own stories with just through life and
I have, yeah. That's why I like documentaries,
I
right?
see.
Because if you don't consider yourself like a story writer
Mm,
or personally a story creator,
yeah.
right? Then documentaries I think allows for not easier access, but there's more of a way where you can drive the story through outlines instead of a script,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
having access to people and places is the main requirement. Like that's the main ask, of being able to make those work. So that's why I've really enjoyed uh, making documentaries like on grieving children
Mm,
or humanitarian rangers and things like that. Um, because then you get to really also have a direct experience of what it is to be in other people's shoes,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and see what they go through. Yeah.
You're working on a few things right now, right? Like what's like
Yeah.
yeah.
So I work for kind of two organizations called TVE, which is Environmental Films, that was founded by like the WWF and UNEP, and then Filmistan, and they're both kind of overseen by the philanthropist Serena Narula, who's an amazing woman. She lives here in London, so I work with her regularly, and yeah, we have a feature film in development, and then we're trying to help also push a couple of films that are really good ones called 500 Days in the Wild, which is a Canadian selection for like award season. And it's a really, really great narrative. This woman, Diane, trekked across all of Canada by herself,
Wow.
and then the other one's called Navi, which is the Kenyan Commission selection for like Oscars consideration and such. And that's a feature narrative about child marriage and really children's human rights. And so there's a really great ask within that one of how do we keep that issue at the forefront when there's still a lot of countries where that's legal. I mean, there's even cultural sex in the U.S., which still also allowed the practice, right, for child marriage. So anything that forces children, in any way to do stuff like child labor and right, that's, I mean, in any culture, our mission is always to protect children. So how do we do that? By not letting those things be legal anymore. So yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. I think that's so good that you're working on this project and bringing this stuff even more to the forefront. And hope, I mean, obviously it doesn't happen overnight, but it's one of those things like all you can do is just, bring awareness and somehow hopefully that things can change for the better. Because it's really sad. We definitely need to protect our kids. They're the future,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's where films can be such a great tool. I mean, they can create awareness, but I think they can accomplish so much more than that. They can really influence social engagement and social movement. And if you can even reach that apex, which I think is when you can actually influence policy and advocacy, right? Like, and it's happened that, films have been able to make that kind of impact. So yeah, it's not impossible.
Thank you for doing the work and wanting to change that. Because I feel like, we have so many, the entertainment world, there's so many stories we could be telling, but stories that are very important that I think sometimes, it's great, and to go to movies and be entertained, but when you do hear about these kind of topics, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I have first world problems, and then there's kids getting, having to deal with this in other places.
Yeah.
Very scary.
It is. And I mean, to your point, though, I think an important thing in our industry too is to also remind people who make and watch more lighthearted entertainment, right? That is just as necessary as hard hitting pieces, right? Like we need levity, we need entertainment, we need to be able to laugh and commiserate over those things. When giant cataclysmic events happen, what genre do you think shoots to the top of the ratings?
Right.
It's comedies. Every time, right? So that's such a great sign. Like Ethan Hawke has a good descriptor. He says those are the moments where you can tell it's sustenance for people. It's not just this nice to have thing on the side. It's sustenance that we need. And I love that descriptor.
Yeah, I do too. That's so true. How important is mental health? I noticed you said you're about climate change and mental health. Why is it important and how important it is to you?
Because mental health covers everything that we do from the beginning. And it's easy for people to kind of conflate it with this conversation of, diagnoses and clinical needs, right? And working with a doctor. But even my therapist, I had a great conversation with her and she said, people obsess about needing a diagnosis too much.
Very true.
Right. And that doesn't, because we think that it will give us closure and better understanding. And that's not always what it accomplishes. And there's plenty of even when we have diagnosable conditions, there are also many conditions that can be overcome, or people can be weaned off of medications and stuff if you start, improving in symptoms. So I think mental health just carries a lot of ground in terms of the work that daily work, and how we put ourselves in conducive environments, how we talk to ourselves and treat ourselves, right? The kind of people we let into our lives and let impact us. There's just so many things, and it has connecting tissue to everything, to the climate crisis, to why we've built systems that extract and exploit people, and most of us are negatively affected by those systems, and yet we're kind of content and complacent. And that also comes back to mental health. We're kind of just programmed to think, well, that's the way it is. Fighting it's rarely going to make a dent into changing those systems. No one's willing to dismantle them. So it has very less to do with like a doctor-patient relationship and clinical needs, and it's just our outlook and how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other.
Absolutely. I think what you said, the amen to therapy. Yes.
Yes.
I'm such an advocate of that. Like, I feel like even in my growing up, like culturally, I was always, it was like, oh, we don't get therapy. I'm just like, why not? Like, as I got older, I'm like, oh, this is actually really good for you. Like, to talk about problems.
Well, it is, right? And there is so much stigma, especially in certain cultures too, that needing a therapist is akin to complaining, or it means there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I love we could have a whole hours long conversation on that idea of people telling themselves and each other, oh, there must be something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the most destructive things we can do to each other and ourselves, when just because we might be dealing with something, even if it's a diagnosable something, it doesn't mean we're broken. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with us. We all have baggage of some kind, or we all interpret things different way. I mean, so but if we're coming from a place of there's something wrong with you, that means we're not starting at a balanced place. We're starting in the pit.
Yep. So true. What keeps you motivated?
I've changed my perspective on, I think, the basis for where we all start as human beings, right? A lot of people, like most of us, like to talk about, oh, human beings are inherently good, right? No one likes to be called, anything negative in terms of their being, right? Oh, I'm a good person. Even after you've caught someone hand in the cookie jar doing something terrible, but I'm a good person, I swear. How many times have we all heard that happen? Like that scenario present itself. Because we hate it, like more than anything, being accused of being something other than good. And I don't particularly think as a species we are inherently good. I think it's not that's a very black and white kind of thing, right? And why people like stories like Game of Thrones, for example, is the characters are all gray. There is no single hero and single villain kind of thing, right? Everyone has gray, and we're all capable of good and bad, and so I think we're inherently survivalists. Right? That's less about good or bad. When push comes to shove, most of us will find ways to defend ourselves and protect ourselves, right? Even at the expense of other people, and that's not always a hero villain kind of story. But it took me a long time to really start kind of having that outlook, and I think it helped me with my expectations a lot.
Yeah, no, that's good. Very interesting. I like that perspective. Yeah. Wow. Okay. It's so crazy how 30 minutes goes by so fast.
No.
I know. You got to come back. What's one of the key advices that it could be someone's told you, or something that sticks with you, like you think about it and it just kind of puts everything into perspective? It could be a quote or anything.
Viola Davis had a really good quote. She did an interview I've watched several times where she said, and I think she said it also took her quite a while to realize this, but that you are the love of your life, of your own life, right? That not only is it, really crucial for us to give ourselves love and do that work and know that we're acknowledged, that we are worth it to give ourselves, to put in the work in ourselves, but also that no one can do that for you, not your partner, not your parents, right? Like no one's going to fight harder for you than yourself to do those things. And other people, even the most important people in your lives, will also necessarily be there all the time either, right? But you always will be with yourself. And it's also not fair to put that on anyone else, right? Even your partner. It's
Yeah.
not fair to put that level of expectations that your happiness and your functionality is entirely dependent on another person being that for you, right? Like, so that I let people's responses to me disappoint me to a huge amount, and it still does, right? People we really want to love us back and things, it hurts, like no matter how old we are, and I get very emotional thinking about that. But once I realized, that the kind of you are the love of your life thing really makes sense, and it's a really healthy thing. It changed my life.
I love that. That's such a great reminder. You are the love of your life. I love that. Absolutely. Where can people find you on social media to find out all that you're doing?
So I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. Just my name, Benn Wiebe. I'm on Instagram, Ben UPM. Those are the best places. You can find, like, you can look up my stuff on IMDb or but yeah, I'm sociable. I'm pretty easy to find.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. You have to come back anytime.
Thank you. Oh, I love getting kind of very introspective with you.
Same, same. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.